Hi everyone, I'm Isaac, and I'm really excited to be here to talk to you about the work we've done, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Hello everybody, I'm Pryor. We're here today to talk to you about some of the things that we've learned over this last year and a half of going through the process of creating a plan and hopefully an ordinance as well in Ashland. So the first and biggest thing I want to talk about, the major thing that we've learned, is just how critical youth voices are in this movement. The fact that it's our future at stake gives us the right to be a part of this process and to fight for an earth that we want to live in. One thing I've noticed while campaigning is that politicians are generally pretty reluctant to tell me and Isaac and other youth like us that they don't care about climate change, because they understand that's equivalent to telling me I don't care about your future. And while it is truly terrifying to be a teenager in 2017, hearing every day drastic predictions of what the world will look like in 100 or even 50 years, it is also exhilarating because we have the potential to make real change. After 17 years of being told I'm too young to understand, or too young to take real action, or too young to make a difference, I have finally found an issue where my youth makes me important instead of ignorable. Youth have to fight for the world that we care about, it's true, but we also get to fight for the world that we care about, which is a pretty cool thing. And it has been an eye-opening experience to find out just how central youth are to our climate action movement.
So I want to tell you a little bit about why we chose to do local action. We have seen here, but in Mary's presentation and in Jacob's, how our national government is failing to respond adequately to this pressing issue. And here in Ashland, we as youth came together and we knew we wanted to do something, but we weren't sure exactly how we could do something to address something that's so large. And we couldn't see exactly how to tie into some sort of larger policy-making activity like the litigation that's happening with our children's trust, or larger energy policies and that sort of at the national level. And we're starting to have some influence at the state level, which is really incredible. But we just wanted to do something, so we got involved in the only way we knew how. But what we've discovered through this process is that local action isn't less than or less effective than national action or state level action, because there are some intrinsic advantages that we've discovered. We've found that local action is way more accessible in a way that is really powerful for gaining momentum in the community. Someone at Ashland High School, where we go to school, can come and they can make a sign or come to a rally that's a mile away from their house. And this is really key, because if there's a higher barrier to entry into these sorts of endeavors, they won't get involved. But when there's something that's easy and small like that they can do, it starts to get them excited, and they start to get involved with more and more responsible things that take more and more responsibility. And all these cumulative actions have a huge impact beyond just what a few people could do. The second thing that we've discovered is that local action creates community investment in the policies and plans that are created. So we've seen on the SEEP committee that there's been a lot of testimony, and a lot of people have shown their support and given their ideas we had some open houses and just talking to people on the committee, conversations. Anytime we meet, really, we're constantly having conversations with community members about their ideas. And this is, I think, made a plan that in which where everyone in the community, maybe not everyone, but a key tipping point, the key people in the community are invested, and I think this gives us a greater chance of success. And the third thing that for which local action has a huge advantage is local knowledge. We've been so blessed to have the involvement of local experts, climate scientists, forestry professionals, doctors, people who have just studied this issue a lot because they're passionate about it, and they can contextualize their knowledge, the knowledge that, or the larger problem that Mary talked about in our local area. And this makes it so much more relatable to the average person in Ashland, and it makes it so that it reinforces the community involvement part of creating this plan, and it makes it so that we come up with solutions that are more effective and more feasible for our local area.
Another thing we've learned over the past couple of months especially is that what we're doing in Ashland is about so much more than just Ashland. Because our community has been pushing so hard for aggressive targets, in March the City Council passed a climate plan that is one of the most ambitious and science-based in the nation. And the plan standards immediately put Ashland on the front lines of the local climate action movement. And already we are becoming a template for other cities around Oregon and the nation. For example, when I went up to Salem a couple of weeks ago to lobby for the Clean Energy Jobs Bill, I ran into two different groups who said they had heard about what was happening in Ashland and were trying to emulate it in their own cities. They wanted to start youth action groups and campaign for ordinances as well. This means that we are already succeeding in spreading the message that grassroots, youth-led local climate action works. A couple of weeks ago, when I told an acquaintance about my work to help make Ashland a sustainable city, she kind of shrugged and mumbled, well, Ashland's so small it won't really make a difference. But what she doesn't realize is that the work we do here is already making its way across the state, nation, and perhaps even world. Our leadership truly will and does make a difference, and that's pretty exciting.
So what I want to talk about is something that's really, really important about climate action at the local level, and I think probably at all scales really, which is that it connects to pretty much every single aspect of our lives, and thus it's incredibly complicated to try to sort out individual actions that in one sort of comprehensive way that can be taken to completely address climate change. Thus, it's really, really important to create policies that will, and get decision makers on board so that they can contextualize the demands of climate action to their specific area of expertise. And in the plan, we've done this by creating a climate commission that's going to allow citizens and community members to give feedback to the city about how the climate plan should be implemented. And we're working to create a city staff position that will be devoted solely to climate action, so that we can implement these goals community-wide by educating leaders so that they know how to change what they do to be more effective.
Another thing that we've learned is that climate action connects with every other issue. While we work to create policy around adapting and mitigating the effects of climate change, there are so many issues that we have to keep in mind. For example, as we talk about energy efficient and sustainable construction, we have to make sure that these buildings are not going to be more expensive for the people living in them. This has especially been an issue for us in Ashland, where housing is already so expensive that it's out of reach for our more vulnerable communities. We know especially that climate change will impact those most vulnerable communities first. So we have to make it a priority to construct or retrofit houses that will be more responsible socially as well as environmentally. Of course, just as equity has to be a lens through which we look at climate action, sustainability has to be a lens through which we look at everything else. When we're planning transportation systems or deciding which programs to fund, we have to consider the impact that our actions are going to have on the planet. And this is something we've learned to always keep in mind.
So I just want to talk to you about what the next step is. Plans can be ignored. We saw in Eugene that before the climate ordinance was passed, they had a climate plan that sat on the shelf for 2 years and didn't really do anything. So this is why we need an ordinance. An ordinance will create a reference point for citizens to push the city to take ambitious action on climate change. And it will also create a legal barrier to rescinding climate legislation. So say 2 city council members don't support climate legislation, it will be harder for them to have influence in opposition to this endeavor, because a majority of the city council would actually have to vote to repeal the ordinance. And it demonstrates the city's commitment to climate action. And one of the most important things too is that it ensures that the progress toward our climate action goals will be evaluated regularly. And given the conditions of extreme uncertainty on which we're operating in this endeavor, it's really, really essential that we review our progress and what we're doing so that we can re-strategize and refocus our actions on the things that really, really matter. So we are so proud that our community has taken this first step, and we really, really, really want the climate ordinance to pass. And so call your city councilors, sign petitions, or sign our petition. It's outside, and demonstrate your support by for accountable climate action in Ashland by coming to our meetings or coming to rallies, coming to city council, just meetings, anything that you can do to get involved. We would really, really, really appreciate your support as youth who are going to have to live with the planet that we create.